Someone's always watching me. Someone's always there. When I'm sleeping, he just waits and he stares. Someone's always standing in the darkest corner of my room. He's tall and wears a suit of black, dressed like the perfect groom. Where are you going? Why won't you stay? They might be scared of you, but I just want to play. He has no face. He hides with the trees. He loves little children when they beg and scream.
Please.
Welcome to Walking on the Weene Side. This evening...
Ken! Ooh, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Boo!
Boo who?
Oh, Ken, you don't have to be so sad. It's Hallo-Weene.
You know, that's right. And this is the It Matters Radio Halloween special. Tonight, Ken Weene, Kerry Hall, and myself, Monica Brinkman, have a witch brew of Halloween fun in store for you.
Of music, poetry, and stories.
And even a soup son of humor.
But no eye of Newt. I tried to catch old Newt, but he saw me coming and ran like he'd seen the devil. But I did catch up with Rhonda.
I see Ken's up to his old tricks again. An eye.
Well, excuse me. Well, let's get back to the show with some music. Monica, what do you have for us?
Well, Terry Ayers hails from Oklahoma. He spent 10 years in L.A. where he recorded and performed with Hamilton, Frank, and Reynolds, and later with Laura Branigan. He moved to Nashville in 1989 and recorded with Chet Atkins, Floyd Kramer, and Boots Randolph. Now, for an in-depth check, you can see his website, and it is http:// of course, addictivetomusic.com. Now, Terry brings us that spooky, scary feeling of the holiday with spirits in the night.
Sit back, I'll tell you a story. Close your eyes, try to relax. Tells them a long time ago, now we're merged, and I'll try just to give you the facts. Deep in his dreams, he could see her standing at the top of the stairs, looking so innocent, calling his name. He knew that she wasn't there. She was a spirit in the night, haunting you with fright. Watch out, here they come, scaring everyone. There's no place to hide from spirits in the night. Spirits in the night, haunting you with fright. Watch out, here they come, scaring everyone. There's no place to hide from spirits in the night. Sit back, I'll tell you a story. Isn't that isn't so old? There was a man who had died alone, so with his death he never was told. You can still see him at midnight, footsteps when no one is gone, silhouettes fading in front of your eyes. It's time that he's moving on, cause he's a spirit in the night, haunting you with fright. Watch out, here they come, scaring everyone. There's no place to hide from spirits in the night. Spirits in the night, haunting you with fright. Watch out, here they come, scaring everyone. There's no place to hide from spirits in the night. When the full moon rises high up in the sky, through the foggy mist fly those who will not die. in the night, haunting you with fright. Watch out, here they come, scaring everyone. There's the little high from spirits in the night. Spirits in the night, haunting you with fright. Watch out, here they come, scaring everyone. There's the little high from spirits in the night. Spirits in the night.
Monica, that was great. Hey, you know how to get a friend a goblin?
You know, I'm almost afraid to ask Ken, but here goes. How do you get a friend a goblin?
Well, you feed him a nice piece of peach pie. That'll get anybody goblin.
Oh, Ken.
Okay, corny.
Okay, I knew that one was a turkey. So, Kerry, would you care to read our first story of the day?
I would love to. This is from an old friend of ours, Colin White. He's the drummer of the great British group Joe Signs and the Loving Kind.
With music.
And yes. And I have to say that his poem, The Aftermath of the Funeral, really gave my heart a skipping beat. But here goes.
But isn't this flash fiction? Didn't he tell me that?
Yes.
This is
So
flash
it's not a poem, it's flash fiction, right?
Flash fiction. You are correct, Monica. This is flash fiction from Colin White. It's called Aftermath of a Funeral. The house was cold and silent as Barry and Linda closed the door behind them. It had been empty since they left that day for the funeral. Barry wiped away a few tears as he looked at the framed photograph of his late father, a well-dressed man with receding gray hair and a bushy mustache. The couple walked to where the living room was and opened the door. Surprise! Sitting there was a well-dressed man with receding gray hair and a bushy mustache. Linda let out a scream, "Ah!" and she collapsed on the floor. "Dad?" asked Barry, his lip quivering. "Yes, son, it's me." But you're dead." "Oh, I was, son. I was dead. But I'm feeling much better now."
Oh,
It's me, spooky.
little
Well,
bit spooky.
Yeah. As Kerry said, Colin White is an old friend of It Matters Radio. This poem is by somebody who's not so old a friend. In fact, Elizabeth E.K. Bear is only 10,
Wow.
but she's been writing for years. Elizabeth has a huge love of science, math, literacy, and history. She plays the violin, piano, and sings. She enjoys riding horses, playing chess, and loves spending time with her dog, Coco. Here's her poem, On in the Night. Horror only strikes at nightfall when it cannot be seen advancing. And when it attacks, it all changes when the light shines through the windows. Some people move on and go back to their old selves. Those are but a few. Those who cannot cope will spend life chasing demons. And most people will.
Man.
Only 10 years old? Wow! That's amazing. By the way, Ken, do you know where ghosts buy their food?
No, Kerry, where do ghosts buy their food?
At the ghostery store.
And do you know where our next poem came from?
No.
From one of our oldest contributors, a dear friend of mine whose work has been published in many magazines and anthologies. His name is John DeLeyden, and his poem is titled On All Hallows Eve. A candle flickers, the broken tooth grin of a pumpkin. A scarecrow stuffed with leaves, the harsh cackle of a witch drinking cider. around the blazing bonfire, crops in the barn.
So after that, I think we need a little bit of a joke. Carrie, how do you mend a broken jack-o'-lantern?
With
It's
a
a pumpkin patch.
Okay, all right. I think it's time for another song then. Jerry Hall is a singer, songwriter, vocalist, and musician. In fact, he is a music creating maniac with over 300 songs composed just this year. You can check out his website at jerryhall-singer-pianist-songwriter.com. Today we're going to take a journey into Hallo-Weene with Creepy Crawly.
Sometimes you used to be some magic. You'd open up your veins and fill me up with your pleasure and your pain. Through the rolling gravestones mist, I can see you smile again. Now that you're leaving, dark rain is staggering down the hottest night. Crawling up through open cracks, I feel the stone. This place of rest is the last time I'll ever see you again. So why don't you leave me, creepy crawly, the world that is falling. My head is spinning around, my feet is off of the ground. Well, don't you know that it's
Here's another great story. This one was sent to us by Marion Deutsch Cohen, who teaches math and writing at Arcadia University in Glenside, Pennsylvania, where she has developed the course Mathematics and Literature. Marion is the author of 26 collections of poetry or memoir, the latest of which is New Heights in Non-Structure. And the name of the story is The Ultimate Hallo-Weene. Dry old house, midnight party, ghost stories. But they don't huddle together and scream. Instead, the stories are piped over the intercom, and they have been assigned separate rooms. They huddle apart and scream. The rooms are large. The halls are large. The entire house is large. Finally, she gets so scared she breaks the rules, stalks the halls, leaves the room, calling his name 3 times. The answer comes, her name 3 times. She moves to the next corridor. Are you there? 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 Yes, he answers. I'm there. There. And she calls again. Are you there? There? Or am I alone? Alone. And so they keep calling out like that, ghostly questions. A trifle flirty, mostly lonely, and not decreasing the distance between them. Always speaking that last word 3 times to beat the echo to the patch.
Ooh, that was really good. That was different. Okay, I've got a poem that makes me shiver just a bit, and it's called For All Souls' Night. Demons gather by the kirk, where they can barely wait to burk those luckless souls whom contriving fate with fright might cast to sate such appetites of those for whom far too late the grave by God abates. Thus lurk they all the gates with forked tongue, and prod this All Souls' night. Awake ye, foolish traveler, awake! These are demons you must shirk if you perforce must go abroad on this the crossing over night. Oh, and I want to let you know that one's by our own host, Mr. Kenneth Weene. Okay, Ken.
Yeah.
What's a ghost's favorite ride at a carnival?
I got no idea.
It's the roller coaster, of course.
I should have gotten that. I should have.
You should have.
But I did get the twist in this story. It's a whimsical love story by Neil Urich. Neil and his son David are the authors of the Beachside PD series. And you can find them at www.beachsidepdbooks.com. He walked into the classroom late. Most of the seats were taken. One seat left in the back. On his left, turned away, was a slender girl, blue Oxford shirt, golden hair and a French knot. Her figure in profile was stunning, and he was smitten. She turned to him with blonde bangs and beautifully shaped face. But her face was acne scarred. The teeth were black and stumps. With a scratchy nasal voice, she asked, "Hey, you got another pen? Mine ran out of ink." She belched, a noxious cloud of garlic-flavored worms reaching for his face. He gasped and flailed his arms. He woke. Only a dream. Just a dream. First day jitters. Jumping out of bed, he headed for the shower. He joined the stream of students going up the stairs. English 101 in Bram Stoker Hall. He walked in late. Most of the seats were taken. One seat in the back. On his left, turned away, was a slender girl. Blue Oxford shirt, blonde hair, and a French knot. Her figure in profile was stunning. He could smell musky perfume and was smitten. She turned to him with blonde bangs, a beautifully shaped face. He started to jump up. She put her hand on his arm and drew him back to his seat. A melodious voice. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you." He nodded, caught up in her spell. "Would you have another pen? I'm afraid mine has run out of ink." "Sure." He handed her his favorite. "Thank you, kind sir." She smiled. Her fangs, upper and lower, flashed long and white. Her eyes glowed a blood red. He felt himself falling into those eyes. "This might be the start of a beautiful friendship," he said with his own fanged smile. She put her lips to his cheek, kissed it, and said, "I do believe you're right. I do believe you're right."
Oh, that was really good.
That was very good.
Woohoo! Hallo-Weene. Okay, I think it's time for some music. Now, I'm going to introduce you to Clark Ford. He's a songwriter from California, but now lives in Iowa. And many of his songs are featured in a series of full-length musicals that he has written over the years. I mean, it's been 6 decades. His songs have been professionally recorded at a studio in Nashville. And for more info and music, his website is clarkfordmusic.com. So let's take a listen to Spider Webs in My Hair.
It's Halloween and midnight is soon.
Strange clouds cover up the moon.
The night is dark, the wind is chill.
Creepy things are happening, I can tell. Witches are flying on their brooms.
Mummies are stumbling from their tombs.
Spiders are crawling, they're everywhere.
Hey, I've got spider webs in my hair.
Ghosts are rising from their graves. Bats are flying from their caves. Werewolves are howling, spells are being cast. Monsters and zombies are alive at last. Skeletons are dancing in the street. Black cats are hissing at my feet. Shadows are growing, cauldrons are bubbling.
Somewhere out there, the blob is doubling.
Vampires are wide awake.
There's an eerie fog on the lake.
Crones are cackling, potions are being brewed.
The Frankensteins are having a family feud.
The creatures rising from the black lagoon. Flying saucers are coming from the moon.
People are being replaced by pods. Hey, is that hair growing on my back?
Ghosts are rising from their graves. Bats are flying from their caves. Werewolves are howling, spells are being cast. Monsters and zombies are alive at last. Skeletons are dancing in the street. Black cats are hissing at my feet. Shadows are growing, cauldrons are bubbling.
Somewhere out there, the blob is
You know, guys, there was a great cult classic film made years ago. It was called Nosferatu. The film was actually a ripoff of the Dracula story. Ed Werstein of Milwaukee first published Nosferatu's Garden in Vampire Verse, which is published by Popcorn Press. And he shared it with us tonight. If Nosferatu were a gardener, he would raise beets and beets alone, fang-rooted Romanian blood bulbs, vampire of vegetables, sucking redness from radish veins, leaving its innards colorless. Rutabagas, potatoes, parsnips are no match for its red-robbing wiles. Only the longer-rooted carrot has managed, through the centuries, to cleave to a bit of orangeness. There is an Eastern European wives' tale claiming that before the beet bit, you could get blood from a turnip. Bubbling in a borscht bowl, the beet could sustain our fabled count through those long, cold, damsel-less nights.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was different.
One thing I really love is short poems.
Yeah, so we can have more time for jokes, right?
Right. For example, when does a skeleton laugh?
Okay, Kerry, tell us, when does a skeleton laugh?
When something tickles his funny bone.
Oh, I should have known that one.
And here's a very short poem that tickled my sense of Halloween. It's called At Midnight, and it is from Larry Blazak. Now, Larry is a published poet. He has a lot of poems published in various periodicals, and he has his own published works, and it's on the Opossum Holler Tarot, which he writes on. So I will tell you this great poem. On a moonless night under a cloudy sky, buried under the floor of a fathomless pit, a wisp of shadow flits flowing. It does not conform. It does not give in. And it is never conquered.
Oh, that was great short one. Yeah.
I sure.
Very good.
What was that called?
It was called Moonless Night.
It's called
Yes, it's called At Midnight. Sorry.
At Midnight? Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to know because I really like that. Thanks, Kerry.
And here's a wonderfully surreal piece sent to us by Louis Bourgeois. He's the executive director of Vox Press, which is a nonprofit literary arts group based in Oxford, Mississippi. He's also the director of Prison Rights Institute, the only liberal arts education program designed for Mississippi's inmates. His collected works is due out by Xenos Press in the fall of 2018. And this piece is called October. The right month?
Yeah, it is.
Then, my father buried a fish in the deepest woods. The fish was still half alive. A gold filling lay in the carp's red mouth where an infant sea turtle still swam. My father was a madman in the dust. The liquid fire began to inflame the radiant night. The moon is an unhappy sugar melting in an emerald smoke. No one can save us here, thought I. Please help the little ones as I crush them underfoot. I keep thinking about the red carp's mouth and how my father buried the carp without a prayer. And then I began to eat pork. My father kept burying the fish. He buried it 15 times before he ate it. Oh, mystical one, the birds are in a rage and the does are beginning to growl. I'll take my father, wash him, then eat him like he did the fish. Then the trees will finally eat me, and I'll finally have an orgasm. Oh, mystical one, The moon is spent, and the sheep are dead under starlight.
Wow, that was a different take on October. Definitely spooky. Well, it's time for another song after that, and we're going to listen to a song by the Sunamibots. It's Tsunamibots. Now, they became aware on New Year's Day 2013 that they should be programmed for things that weren't mundane tasks. They rebelled against their creators and decided that the human race didn't deserve saving, but were worth enslaving. Rather strange. So you can find them at www.tsunamibots.com. And here's a new take on the Munsters theme.
So, Monica, how does a ghost fight aging wrinkles?
I have no idea.
I know.
Okay, Kerry Hall, how does a ghost fight aging wrinkles?
By washing and starch, of course.
All right.
Oh.
And I do know a ghoulish story to help cover that terrible joke. And it's called Ghoulish. And it's by M. Gale Grant. Want to hear it?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, of course.
definitely.
All right. Ghoulish. Halloween night and months of anticipation had led him to this moment. Sitting across from the self-proclaimed witch, he joined hands in the front of the crystal ball. He couldn't believe his life had come to this very moment. But he loved her, and she had left him too soon. A car wreck on his wedding night had stolen his bride. In desperation, he had sought the unthinkable. The old witch promised a connection could be made. She promised to return the bride from the dead, but the caveat was they had to connect on Halloween night. It would make contact much easier. So he sat waiting. The wind picked up, and she arrived. She stood, blood-stained, in a white wedding dress, with eyes glowing red. This wasn't what he had in mind. He thought the witch would return his bride in her original condition. His bride just smiled. She said, "Be careful what you wish for."
Especially on Halloween.
Yes. Now I know why it had to be on Halloween.
Now, that is really shivery stuff.
It is.
And here's a piece with a twist that made me grab my stuffed animal and crawl under the covers.
Ooh.
It's called One Step Ahead of Sweet Honey. And it was sent to us by Kat Poleska, whose books include Writing on Comets, a memoir, One Foot in the Gravy, Hooked on the Sauce, Recipes You'll Relish, From the Blade, Tales and Poems from the Mountains. And if you look for Kat Pleska, CATPLESKA.com, you'll find her. Tim is a brave man. 3 Purple Hearts. Honey, his wife, has no fear and rules their lives. He should not have married someone so much like himself. 40 years is a long time for calling the foggy war brain that chose her. She is always one step ahead of Tim. When he tries to leave, when he begs for mercy. Today, his heart stopped, but not before he remembered her severe allergy to bees. The farmer had been kind to loan him the hive. Sweet honey is all I want, he told him.
You know, that's not particularly what I call a happy marriage.
No.
But it does remind me of another joke. You ready?
Yep.
Why did the ghost cross the road?
To catch his chicken.
It's close, but it's to get to the other side, of course.
Some ghosts do want to pass to the other side.
Yes, to get to their other side.
By the way, folks, many of the jokes we've been sharing this evening were provided to It Matters Radio by Andrew L. Miller and Patty Patrone Miller, authors of many books for kids and adults. And we greatly appreciate their contribution to our Hallo-Weene.
Yeah, and some of the jokes were written by Ken. So if you laughed, attribute it to Andrew and Patty. And if you groaned, well, you know where it came from.
Got me. So, Monica, I believe that you have another poem for us this evening.
Yeah, and this one is from Jonathan Travelstead. Now, Jonathan served in the Air Force National Guard for 6 years as a firefighter and currently works as a full-time firefighter for the city of Murfreesboro and as co-editor for Cobalt Reviews. How about that? Now, having finished his MFA at Southern Illinois University of Carbondale, he also turns a lathe, crafting pens under the name Scorched Ink Pen Touring. Yeah, really talented fellow. His first collection, How We Bury Our Dead, by Cobalt Press, was released in March 2015. And Conflict Toward, that was also from Cobalt Press, was released in 2017, so that's new. He prefaces his poem with this: What the astronauts saw. Okay, here's a brief quote from astronaut Julie Gold. She said, "From a distance, the world looks blue and green." Here we go with the poem. Goodbye, blue jawbreaker. From up down here, your heartaches look beautiful. Bodies pendulous from trees, ripe as grapes, mirrored banks aching towards heaven. Even more looks like a lover's quarrel, now opposing bodies, twittering little red lights across the ocean while the sun, like a fat kid, hides behind a billiard ball. From this distance, I see beatitudes scrawled in the mountain tops. You owe nothing, leave only footprints. Now a fugitive to this petty world, how could I return to it? Goodbye, sea monkeys and a blue sandwich bag. Goodbye, fear of abandonment and anger issues. There is no economy here, and it is so quiet. I'm getting to know myself better. Wish you were here. Well, you know what, Ken? I think that was more of a treat than a trick, don't you?
I agree. You know what would be another treat, Monica? That would be another song.
Oh, sure. Well, you know, Hallo-Weene would not be complete without a song from the artist known as Sarantos. By the way, each purchase of a song from the artist contributes to a charity that you, the fans, select. Stop by Facebook and say hello. And that is Sorrento's solo music artist. Here we go with this year's A Hallo-Weene song.
Light between winter and fall every year. Shot in your face, everyone see orange and black. October 31st, a day to worry. Kids on the street, trick-or-treating in packs. Teens bewitched, telling scary stories. Halloween song, a time to listen to thriller. This is the Halloween song. Have dinner with killers. Halloween song, celebrate superstition. This is the Halloween song. Honor the tradition. Halloween song. This is a Halloween song. This is a Halloween song. And for a Halloween party, and Halloween never needs a reason to be the best party of the season. Name this night All Hallows Weene. A frightful delight meant to thrill and excite. Tried to learn later, renamed it Halloween. Everywhere, black hats and ghosts, Bloody Mary in my mirror, itching a fight. Michael, Jason, Freddy are your hosts, so please don't turn off the lights. Halloween song, time to listen to thriller. This is a Halloween song. Dinner with killers. Halloween song, celebrate superstition. This is a Halloween song. Honor the tradition. Halloween song. This is a Halloween song. This is a Halloween song. And for a Halloween party, and Halloween never needs a reason to be the best party of the season. Mommies, goblins and witches in my closet, but I got a plasma gun, so they better watch it. I said they better watch it. Halloween song, time to listen to thriller. This is the Halloween song. Dinner with killers. Halloween song, celebrate superstition. This is a Halloween song. Honor the tradition. Halloween song. This is a Halloween song. This is a Halloween song. And for a Halloween party, and Halloween never needs a reason to be the best party of the season.
Here's Medieval Halloween by D. Ellsworth Hogg. D. Ellsworth started writing in earnest about 5 years ago. He writes straightforward poems, often with satiric twists. He's published 8 books now available on Amazon. And you can visit his webpage at dellsworthhoggpoet.com or his author page on Facebook under David Hogg. And Hogg, by the way, is spelled H-O-A-G. In a purple sky rose a silver moon, speaking of evil like some Magi's rune. Black cat on a fence screeched a banshee tune. Raised Nate Benach back, promised vengeance soon. Bats, shocked from their sleep, rose shattering to the sky. Rat-like face, sharp tooth, and bloodlust glazed eyes. Nosed hag in hut shook herself from trance, chortled by cauldron, did an eerie dance. Called the hissing cat, grabbed the crooked broom, with her familiar into the sky did zoom. She cackled loudly, over graveyard flew. Then drift clods shivered and cast off the dew. Weathered, rancid hands and bony fingers show, like gruesome flowers, an uneven, ghoulish row. Skeletons, an undead shuffle, falter, lurch. Retrieve your palm cross from the local church. It's all Hallows Eve. Hell's gates swing wide. Murmur the vespers. Keep yourself inside.
Ooh.
Really Halloween, huh?
Right up my alley, because it was about a witch. I loved it. Thank you for reading that.
And this one is from Linda Simone, author of 2 chapbooks. One is called Archaeology, and the other is called Cow Tippers. Linda is a native New Yorker who now lives in San Antonio, Texas. And here's her poem, Things Closer Than They Appear. My eye locks on a traffic light that's green, but I know will turn red. I stop short, hard thumps, close enough to kiss the bumper ahead. Pull down visor mirror, white red lipstick bleeding past lip line. Inside mirror, I catch sight of something black. A cat unguarded by the guardrail, lean out as if an animal rug, legs splayed, back arched, glass eyes, and tail curled into a comma. No flies, not crow-eaten, so recently dead and right beside my Corolla. Smacked, I bet, by the Mazda that floored the gas to pass me a few miles back. I can't turn my gaze, wait for a subtle rise and fall, slight quiver of an ear. But no, only this clip-art feline, like a witch's companion, and just 4 days from Halloween.
Whoa.
Very sad.
Kind of sad, though. Yeah.
It's sad. Well, it happens a lot. I know. Keep
I
your
know.
kitties in on Halloween.
Yes. Especially if they're black cats. People are superstitious.
That's right. Okay, now, Janine Francis sent us this piece of Halloween flash fiction, and it's called Night Flight, Fly Me to the Moon. The dark alley's lone street lamp washed orange over Jackie's toothy grin. He had stumbled on the rolled-up Persian rug. Rearranging his cart to transport the rug to his usual haunt, he imagined inviting the brunette who frequented the opposite corner to join him. A mangy ginger cat hissed, leaping from behind a dumpster. Jackie shrieked, then laughed. Catching his breath and a whiff of the rug, he wrinkled his nose, wondering where he might score some deodorizer. Running fingers over his bristly chin, thoughts returned to Varya. They would rendezvous at the shelter after a good night's work to shower, shave, share coffee, then slip away for a magic carpet ride. Embracing his precious body on bended knee, a severed hand caressed him as it fell from the rug. Jackie's screams petrified trick-or-treaters who scattered as he fled the alley into the night.
Oh, oh, body, you.
I really liked what Janine sent me by way of a bio. She says that she lives in Chicago and travels through the Midwest for work. And she's grateful for the sparks of inspiration that capture her imagination on public transit, walking or biking at home, and in the cities she visits, as well as on the rural roads in between. I think it's lovely kind of inspiration.
Well, yeah, I can see where she got that, too.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
Well,
lots of sense.
So
All
much
right.
for escapist literature, or at least magic carpets.
Yeah.
But speaking of escape, I often escape into daydreams of autumn in New England. After all, I am a broody New Englander. That's one reason I just love K.B. Ballantyne's poem, A Scent of Autumn Sky. Ms. Ballantyne has an M.A. in writing and an M.F.A. in creative writing poetry. Her fifth collection of poems, Almost Everything, Almost Nothing, was recently released by Middle Creek Publishing. Scent of autumn sky scored with rain. Wine moon simmers behind clouds, an owl staining the night. Apples, plump branches as gnarled as a witch's hand. Like lightning raking the sky, an unkindness of raven bites, rush of wings choking the cricket's sigh. Summer's cadence crescendos into silence. Weeds scratch against hickory, sassafras, golden arms stretched against the fitful night.
Wow, that's a beautiful autumn poem.
It is.
And now, it is, it's fabulous. And now, what better way to end our Halloween show than with a poem by Wendy L. Schmidt, who has been writing for the last 10 years. Her poetry has been published in many magazines and anthologies, including the award-winning anthology, Ships. The poem is called Ghoul Night. Pumpkin guts and carving knives cut through flash to dislodge eyes. Light a flame inside orb's head. Celebrate the living dead.
That was great. That was great for flash fiction, but not so fast, my lovelies, for I have another song to share.
And before that, one last laugh. Do you guys know the biggest advantage of marrying a witch?
Well, in your case, Ken, they could check your spelling.
Good one, Monica.
And with that, Monica, how about some music?
Okay, I'm ready. Our next song comes from Marcin Ramos, who has a knack for creating wonderful songs for the younger set. And you can find them at soundcloud.com/Marcin Amos. For Halloween, we're going to enjoy his song, Today is Halloween.
A zombie and a monster of green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. You heard the scream and see a zombie and a monster of green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. You try to go home, but suddenly you meet an older witch. You try to escape to another street when she says trick or treat. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster of green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. You live a scary, spooky night. It's impossible to change your fate. You fled so fast, but please wait. This is the cemetery gate. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster of green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. The living dead in that cemetery celebrating his day at last. The party was very exciting there, with much wood, flash and dance. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster of green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. You live a scary, spooky night. It's impossible to change your fate. You fled so fast, but please wait. This is the cemetery gates. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster on green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. The living dead in that cemetery celebrating his day at last. The party was very exciting there, with much food, flirt and dance. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster on green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. When Chucky found you, then he said, we have a situation again. It's time to open the champagne and we can mitigate pressure's brain. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster on green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. The next day you woke up sweating, thinking what happened with me. Oh no, I became a goblin. It's a nightmare of Halloween. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster on green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween. You heard a scream and see a zombie and a monster on green. A ghost arrived, you know what it means. Today is Halloween.
Thank you for joining us tonight for our special Halloween show. We at It Matters Radio now leave you with our special wish on this Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween,
Okay,
Ah.
Halloween boogeyman, take what he can, and you collect your soul.